we had a crazy week here at Distill Social. And Gina, I want to throw this one to you because our good friend Jon James was gallivanting across the 7 seas. And we got some interesting phone calls about it, didn't we?
I wish I could be gallivanting right now.
Yeah, this is just like all from that fallout of people need to realize our government is still partially closed down.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Still.
The government shutdown continues. So we actually gave a tip to TMZ last week. We found Jon James gallivanting in Turks and Caicos while his constituents are at home begging him for a town hall and some legislation that lowers their costs and not raises them, which is that's not his jam, but
I think the beauty of this too is that you guys got this scoop, went over to TMZ, and Jon James did not have a response. His only response in his communications was like old pictures of him shooting guns and like old Tiger game pictures.
It was kind of ridiculous. So first of all, I was on spring break last week too, and Norris calls me up.
Yeah, and I say, we post, the scoop, and it's starting to get traction, and in our DMs is TMZ, and so I called the boss. I'm like, Gina, TMZ wants to talk to us.
They
and
got
she goes,
you're monitoring that.
and she goes, I'm pulling over. She is somewhere in middle America driving. I don't know. She's like, I am stopping everything I'm doing, pulling over because TMZ needs something from us.
Happy spring break.
Yeah,
It was kind of crazy.
I know that TSA workers are now, getting paid and getting checks, but he still voted 8 separate times to not pay them. And so, this guy decides, I'm going to go through TSA and look in the eye of people who I voted to, make sure that they don't get paid and go on vacation with my family. So, I still think that's a very tone deaf and an arrogant thing to do.
It's just
as a
gross.
legislator.
A lot of those people were door dashing in the evening or just
a lot of them quit,
skipping meals.
too.
They were having food banks for these workers, and he goes on this 5-figure vacation and walks right by them.
Yep.
The tone deafness of it
Yeah.
continues to just be really insulting. And I'm not saying people can't spend time with their families. I think it is very important for everyone to spend time with their families. But when other families literally are not getting paid for the work that they do, we have an issue. Fix the issue and then go on vacation. It's very simple.
Sure. I was saying to you guys too, at least he's not like Senator Ted Cruz, who every time he leaves the country on a vacation, there's like some kind of massive, horrible situation that happens.
Yes. So I'm not sure if y'all noticed, but it's a chicken egg conversation, right? Does the disaster happen because Ted Cruz is leaving Texas, or is Ted Cruz leaving Texas because of the disaster? But it's happened during a massive ice storm. It's happened during a hurricane. It's happened during flood.
Yeah, there's like 3 incidents where Ted Cruz leaves, and there's like a massive situation in Texas.
Level event.
The funny part about this was okay, so we got this tip. Somebody was at this resort, a very luxury, high-end resort where Jon James was with his family. But like you said, the next day he's posting like a video of himself at the gun range with the Michigan Enjoyer. Fun fact for you, Adrianne, we actually shamed him into taking that post off when he originally posted it last year, because
Last August.
he posted this video of him firing some sort of semi-automatic weapon. I don't know which one it was. The same, an hour after there was a mass school shooting in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Which isn't hard to do, because I think this week there's already been 2 shootings in schools in the country.
Yeah.
So it was we called him out on it. We reposted the video. We were like, what the fuck is the matter with this guy? So his comms team at the time deleted the video, as well as the Michigan Enjoyer. And then they uncritically reposted on April 2nd. And the way they phrased it was to make you believe that he was there right now doing this.
No.
Yeah. And they did the same thing for
The following
opening
day. Exactly.
Yeah.
They post a photo of him from last fall with his family at opening day.
Yeah,
that
he
he's
was
still
not
up on his
actually
feet.
here. He was not here. He was in Turks and Caicos on his
Yeah.
$12,000 vacation. That was all supposed to be the smoke and mirrors that saying, "Oh yeah, he's actually here," and they're like, "No,
He's a man of the people.
no,
But
he's
do you know
not."
what this comes to? So, like, when Chad Livingood from the Detroit News pressed his comms team to be like, what's the deal with this? Their response was, well, John wasn't at the resurrection either, but we're gonna post about that too.
Okay,
and then
first
they
of
did
all-
like an Easter or Christ has risen.
First of all,
Oh
all
my
right.
god.
That's so disingenuous. Like, just stop it. Which one funny thing I will say is I was sitting maybe about 2 sections away from Perry Johnson
Oh god.
at opening day.
I've been to that dude's house.
So like I was sitting here and I looked down and I couldn't tell if it was him. It kind of looked like him because he's kind of a very distinct looking dude.
Yeah.
you know?
he has a very large skull.
Yeah. And I thought it was him, but I couldn't tell. But apparently he posted later that day and essentially went at Jon James himself, saying, like,
Yes.
guess who's actually
I saw
at the game
that.
and not in Turks and Caicos
First of
right
all,
now.
how old was he when he had his son? Because his child is young in that. Like, Perry Johnson's an old man.
He's
Hey.
like
What did he have
late
this
70s.
kid when he was like 60,
60s.
65?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've been to the dude's house.
Still cranking them out, man.
I've been to his house. I went to one of his holiday parties a few years back because I was
Really?
the date of someone who taught his kids, and it was an interesting experience. But his house looks like something
large
out of the '90s. Yes, he has large teeth. He's an very strange
He's the
man.
quality guru.
Yeah.
Right. 47. He's just going to keep pounding those ads. And I actually saw a poll where he's increasing his name
Yeah.
ID so much. He's catching up to Jon James.
This isn't going to be an easy cinch for Jon James. So that's why it's baffling to me how just like laissez-faire he is about campaigning for governor.
Well, I mean, Kid Rock endorsed Jon James, so there you go. That's all the endorsement
I'm
you
sure
need.
Ted Nugent will be next.
That's the first thing you see on Jon James's website is this really god awful AI generated Kid Rock endorsement. You don't see anything else like above the fold. It is all Jon James. And this quote is, as our next governor of Michigan, I know you will bring many victories to our great state. What does that even mean?
victories. What,
Like-
are we battling Ohio? And I wasn't told.
And then
Well,
also
always.
in the photo, Jon James is wearing like an American flag scarf, like a long American. It's ridiculous. Well, everybody, welcome to the newest episode of Point of Disorder. I'm your host, Norris Howard, and I am joined by the usual suspects. Welcome back, Adrian.
Hi, it's Adrianne. Happy to be back.
And welcome back, Gina.
Thrilled to be here and not in a nuclear fallout shelter right now.
This is very important, and we're going to talk more about it. But first, we got to tell everybody where they can find us. Don't forget, you can follow us at Point of Disorder on all your major social media platforms. That's Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. And you can also follow us at Distill Social and at The Guerrilla Politic. Now, speaking of nuclear fallout, I'm sure all of you are very excited that we did not use mankind's most devious invention on Iran this past week. But Donald Trump has said that he will agree to a 2-week ceasefire. But before we get deep into the doom and gloom, let's all just breathe a sigh of relief.
I don't know if I feel any safer today than
I
I did
understand
yesterday.
that, but there was a the doomsday clock was at 11:59:59.
Oh fuck!
I
couple days ago.
want to tell our listeners, like, if you're experiencing a lot of anxiety right now
Up your
and you're
meds.
just like checking the news constantly, you're not alone.
No.
We are all on edge. It's not normal to worry about your president shooting nukes off civilian populations. Gosh, we're with you guys. That's all I want to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're
100%.
collectively anxious with you, and I think we all need to learn some meditation techniques to get us through the next 3 years.
Some deep breathing.
Because I have never in my lifetime
Right.
heard a sitting president say, like, legitimately, we're gonna wipe the people off the face of the map.
Well, other presidents also know the law and how to couch like people invoking the 25th Amendment and
So
like
let's-
Article 3.
Let's talk about the 25th Amendment, because we had a lot of our legislators talking about that, and I want to level set for all of our listeners out there, because this is really important, y'all. So everybody thinks that, the 25th Amendment functions exactly like an impeachment would. It doesn't, right? Congress can impeach. They can come together and say, we don't trust this person anymore. We gonna get him out.
And Trump's been impeached twice.
Twice.
Didn't matter.
Right? Because again, a law with no teeth might as well not be a law.
Right.
But the 25th Amendment, you need, what, 2/3 of Congress?
It requires like a handful of Republicans to get on board, and it's simply not going to happen.
Yeah, you need 2/3 of Congress. You need half of the cabinet, right? All of which are currently loyalists, and the okay of the vice president.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
It's not. Unless that phone call on the red phone from Peter Thiel comes in, J.D. Vance is not standing for that.
Yeah.
So
We would need a major sweep in this year's election for that to actually
Exactly.
happen.
Well,
So
as of reporting, about 85 House Democrats had backed either impeachment or removal via the 25th Amendment. In Michigan, that was Reps Rashida Tlaib and Shri Thanadar who signed on to that.
wait. So what about Debbie? What about Kristen,
Congresswoman Debbie Dingell
Haley?
called for Congress to return immediately to end what she described as Trump's illegal war.
Okay.
Meanwhile, she was playing like that beer pong game.
Not on the same day.
Okay,
First of
okay.
all,
Not the same day.
Debbie's allowed to play beer pong.
Okay, fine.
She does it every
I
year.
hate everybody
It's
right
her
now.
thing.
I
Yeah.
hate everybody. I'm fucking over it. Okay,
Maybe
fine.
we should all have a game of beer pong.
Okay, I like this idea. Fine.
I would
All right.
love to play beer pong with Debbie Dingell.
Me
That sounds
too.
so
What
fun.
about
Like-
Haley Stevens? Where's she at?
You know where the fuck she's at.
She
is
hasn't
where
called for
AIPAC
anything?
has told her she
All
can
right,
be,
so
and that
she's
is
not-
to shut the fuck up.
She's not calling any like 25th Amendment
No.
or this
No.
war is wrong or maybe he needs to ask permission first.
No,
Okay, cool.
Nothing I saw. Yeah, nothing I saw.
All right. Well, they're all on Twitter, right? They're all on Twitter.
Everybody
They're all
is.
tweeting about how bad this is. And I think
she is. Haley Stevens is tweeting that this is an illegal war and what he's saying isn't okay.
Okay.
She's not signing on to anything. She's not making,
Okay.
she's not signing on.
She's
to
not saying
any-
yay war.
Yeah.
right. She's
Right.
okay, but she's
She's
not
not
doing
saying
anything
yay war.
necessarily to support him being removed, from office. Okay.
correct.
Well, one war that I can definitely get behind is the Twitter war between Iran and the United States. It's like my propaganda is better than your propaganda.
So let me explain something to y'all. When Iran put out those Lego videos, the AI Lego
God,
videos,
the
right?
Pete Hegseth one is so good.
First of all,
Yeah.
let me explain. I'm not a big
The
fan.
music is good.
I'm
the
not a
rap
big
is
fan
good.
of AI, but I'm gonna say this: if you're using AI to troll elected officials,
Yeah.
I'm in.
Well, someone's
in.
working on that. Someone's working on that really, really
Do you know
hard.
how much water those Lego videos
They use
cost
so
us?
much water. Those listen, we could have saved so many orca, but instead we put out those videos and
fresh
you know
water.
what? I'm with it.
I know, but that's the thing. It's like their propaganda machine is on point right now.
Yeah.
Even their consulates, their Iranian consulates are
Yeah.
getting into it as well. It's kind of wild. So I'm like, yeah, let's see how our propaganda works against their propaganda.
But that's the thing, right? Like after all this, and we know it's terrible. Obviously, I don't want loss of life anywhere. I want this conflict to end as quickly as humanly possible so we can kind of just get back to, I don't know, not being in a war. But you're making me feel empathy for a regime that has been oppressive.
Oh, they're horrifying.
And,
Right.
like,
Why are you
that's
making
the-
me feel bad?
And that's the part that continues to me to be very frustrating is that how are you out bad guying the bad guys?
Yeah.
Well-
So I think we need to be clear on like where we are right now. So Trump is trying to negotiate a 2-week ceasefire with Iran. Part of that is including that Trump is demanding they keep the Strait of Hormuz open.
Yep.
Iran has refused that request. at the same time, Israel is carpet bombing Lebanon. So Iran is saying, if we have a ceasefire, you need to include Lebanon in the ceasefire. Both the U.S. and Israel say, no, Lebanon is not included. We're going to continue to bomb the shit out of them. At this point, more than 1 million people in Lebanon are displaced. If you talk to any American on the street, nobody will be able to tell you why we're bombing Lebanon.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the long
Well, that's
and
where
short
we are
of it.
right now.
Well,
And like they announced a ceasefire, and then like Israel carpet bombed Lebanon last night.
Right.
Overnight,
Yeah. I mean, one of the things
So
I'm
these
finding,
governments are like not.
they're not listening.
Nobody's communicating with each other. Everyone's doing their own thing.
Shocking.
No, I think they're communicating. I just think we got one side that's doing whatever the hell it wants.
Right.
And another one that has control over a very important, piece of geography. And there's the impasse. So, it is what it is.
Well,
But
one thing I do want to mention about all of this that I've found very entertaining is our European allies have been like, nah,
I'm good.
we're out. We're not going to get involved. Sucks to be you.
So Julie and I did an episode of G&T Time last night, and she's out of the country on the other side of the world right now. So I said, you're in a media ecosphere that is very different from the one we're all sitting in right now. Let me know what they're saying in the Australasia, news cycle. So if you guys want to give us a few bucks and subscribe to our Patreon, you can hear that chat with like how the rest of the world is seeing us.
Because it is insightful. It is insightful to understand where, how other people are processing this information, because I think we've been paralyzed into a malaise in many cases, but the rest of the world does not feel that way. But I do want to brighten the show up a little bit.
Is it your poly market bets you want to talk
It
about?
is not the poly market bets yet, because I haven't made any money. I do want to talk about everybody's favorite himbo streamer, Hasan Piker.
Imbo.
Because this gentleman has set the college campuses of Michigan ablaze by just showing up. He did a series of talks with Abdul El-Sayed, who we know is running for Senate in Michigan. And we sent a few of our people out there, and they got us some really cool footage. And let me tell y'all, being not cool with this guy is stupid.
Yeah, the smear campaign isn't winning the youth vote over.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
You're actually going to alienate a big part of a voting coalition that we need on our side.
Yeah, we had our people out there, and they sent back the footage, and we got to look. First of all, the auditorium's full to the brim, overflow rooms, lines wrapping around the buildings, people really excited. And this is a thing we have to be very conscious of as we move forward, is that if you're engaging the youth vote and getting people excited to talk about politics in any capacity, you got the juice.
Yeah.
We saw it happening with Turning Point, and now you're starting to see it with Hasan. The problem is that you do have elements within the Democratic Party that seem to not like that, and no one has given me a good explanation as to why.
Well, they call him anti-Semitic, and that is the problem with the centrist portion of our party, right? I mean, he's made controversial comments in the past.
This is true, yeah.
We're not going to pretend that didn't happen. But at the same time, 95% of the things he talks about is the Democratic Party platform, like Medicare for all, like taxing billionaires and getting the oligarchy out of its position of power and letting normal people have more of a say. Raises,
Right.
affordability. The populist message is what he talks about. Taxpayers don't want their money paying for bombs when they can't afford their health care.
Right.
Like the stuff he talks about is clearly the stuff that's resonating with the youth vote. So it's like, I think we need to remind ourselves we're in a big tent. In 2024, we brought Liz Cheney over and dragged her ass around the state. And guess what? She's anti-choice. She's anti-LGBTQ. She's anti-immigration.
Right. I mean, that's what's kind of blowing my mind and why I keep like, I'm so disillusioned.
And it got us no votes.
It's got us no votes and it's gotten us nowhere. And what, you know, there's a whole Guardian article that just came out about him a couple hours ago today. And, you know, I don't know who he is because I'm not his demographic.
No, you're not.
His demographic is young and male. The basically the people that have abandoned the party, who said we're not doing this shit anymore. And it's either going to be either the Democrats or the socialist like Piker who's going to pick up these gentlemen and have this platform and audience, or they're going to go over to the manosphere and they're going to do that shit over there.
And that's my thing too, right? Because, you know, obviously he has said many controversial things and things that I don't necessarily agree with myself. However, plenty of other creators on the right have done exactly the same, and people have still appeared on their shows. Tucker Carlson is still getting everybody under the sun to come on his show. Same for, you know, Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, all the rest of these people. Andrew Schultz, all these people are still getting all these folks to appear on their shows.
People
and nobody's making
Bill
that.
Maher have said some really Islamophobic shit. Yeah, and everyone goes on his, like, he literally is like, Muslims just want to blow everyone up.
Yeah, it's straight up stuff that a normal person probably would lose their job over.
Here's the thing though, right? Like, you're a dude who, okay, Hasan's in his mid-30s, so his audience is 35 and under.
Yeah, I still kind of somewhat follow his demo.
So, like, he streams for like 8 hours a day, and he's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
Think about everything you've said.
Yeah, you're going to say some dumb shit.
Exactly. I mean, I know we all have. And
we're ad-libbing here. There's no script.
Right. Like, you can't forgive anti-Semitism or Islamophobia, but that's really not his platform.
No.
Like,
I just think at the end of the day, right, and what I want, you know, anybody who kind of operates in politics to just give this a thought, right, is that, yes, you're going to have to reconcile where he is and where you are, because he's got not just the people you need, he has the energy you need. It's not just about the people. It's about the energy. It's about the groundswell. It's about the progress. So when you see what happened with those events at Michigan and at Michigan State, and Summerlee was there as well. Let's not forget about her. Also a big person, a growing personality in the progressive movement in America, is that you have to get to a point where you say what we can gain with him is critical for us to win, because you alienated a lot of his people and his demo in 2022, 2024, excuse me, in 2024, and you lost the entire state of Michigan.
Well, the moderate Dems' first instinct after 2024 was to have this post-mortem hand-wringing party of like, where do we go wrong? Why are we losing all these voters, right? Where's our Joe Rogan? And then here's someone who's on the left who's willing to talk about these things and is anti-white nationalist, and he's for LGBTQ rights and all of the things that we ask for. And yes, he's an imperfect person, right? But the first instinct of the moderates is to kneecap him, is to cancel him out.
Yeah, well, and they won't even release their report of why we lost 2024. But I can tell you, you know, I was at the nominating convention with Kamala Harris in Chicago in 2024, and the DNC invited him to come and stream there, which he did. And after that convention, he walked across the street and talked to the protesters too. So he was one guy who was able to go into both spaces and be comfortable in each.
And not lose any legitimacy either way.
Exactly.
And it's like, why would you not take advantage of that thing? And I can tell you right now, where I sit and when I talk to people, not just my age, but a lot of folks younger than me, when they see that animus between the Hasan Pikers of the world and the party, they're going to choose to go with the personality.
Right.
They are never, ever
Yeah.
going to choose the party apparatus.
They're not going to choose the establishment.
No.
No. So that, I mean, if we're just appeasing the wealthy donor class, then
We'll keep losing.
Of course we'll keep losing.
There's like, I go back to we want to build a coalition. We need young people on the left to
Period.
vote with us. So we can't be alienating them by telling them that the person they like is unacceptable. It's the same thing, you know, when I still see people talking about how the uncommitted movement cost Democrats this election, which is not true. You can look at, you know, the numbers don't lie. It's like people are still bashing them online, like, "Oh, you fucking uncommitted people!
No,
Look
you
what
lost
you
white
did."
women. That's how you lost.
Well, it's like, you know what? But don't we want them to vote with us in this next one?
Right.
Like, yelling at these people isn't gonna.
No. It's supposed to be a big tent party.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway.
Like,
The big
Like-
tent that brings in, like you said, you know, a Cheney and
Yeah.
and parades her around like that's a good
I
thing.
think like this is. First of all, this is a manufactured issue. They're trying to drive a wedge between Democrats, and there are many things that we are all very united on, regardless of what side of the tent you're on. So, like, just stop fucking letting them do this to us.
Point blank, period. And one thing I'm going to say is, listen, Hassan's a handsome guy.
How old is he?
He's like 30.
He's like 35.
35.
Oh, okay. He's too
Handsome
young for
guy.
me. He's too young for me.
We need that. We need the handsome energy, okay? I'm sorry.
He
We
can
just
bench 350, right, Gage?
this is very important.
yeah.
This is very important. I'm just keeping it for real with y'all. Like, we fronting like this is not, you know, mock elections at the end of high school. Like, at the end of the day, you need hot people. He's a handsome guy.
We need everyone we can, because as Trump's approval rating falls, the Democratic Party approval rating isn't going
Isn't
up.
going up.
So, like, let's not discount anyone who can get us any votes.
We need hot
Period.
people and ugly people.
That's true. That's true. That's true. But
Oh man, I'm
you
so
know,
sour today. I can't even
I can
help
tell.
it. I
It's
can't
all right,
even help
though.
it.
It's all right.
So
But
over it.
speaking of national elections, we broke a story.
Another
I was so
story.
excited. All right, so last night, oh my God, it's fucking been a marathon, guys. Oh my God, and we forgot the Tom Barrett weirdness too.
We totally forgot about. Okay, let's start first with our friend Tom Barrett.
Oh god.
All right, you guys, this is fucking hysterical. We have audio of Tom Barrett saying it's just fucking weird,
Yeah.
right? It's just fucking weird. He's at his own campaign event in Lansing, and for no reason whatsoever, he starts talking about how cheap he is. And he's just like, yeah, like you can call me the Walmart Trump, or like my wife says I'm so cheap. Sometimes she calls me Clearance Thomas.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I'm
like,
sorry,
like,
what?
I'll play it for you because, yeah, you got to hear it. It's fucking weird.
About it, but I've never been compared to Trump. I might be like the Walmart version of Trump, I guess. So I'm rather frugal. My wife calls me Clearance Thomas.
Is he doing stand up? Is this like a stand up routine?
He thinks he is,
With,
but
like, a
it's just
hint of
fucking
racism?
Weird.
Yeah. Listen, let me say
It
this.
feels icky. That's all I'm gonna say.
You know, Tom, you know, it's okay that you ran from us in D.C. We just wanted to talk to you for a second. It's all love. Don't do the Clarence Thomas joke no more.
No, that's not allowed.
Don't
But-
do that one.
But also, like, isn't he voting in favor of Trump policies that are keeping us like trillions of dollars in debt?
Absolutely.
So how can you propose to be so cheap and call
So
yourself
frugal.
yeah, you're frugal and Walmart Trump, but you're like voting to tack on all this
You
money on
just
the
like
deficit.
added trillions to the deficit.
Right. I
with
mean, I
your
guess
votes.
it kind of makes sense. So you want to cut programs and you want to cut funding to, you know, lower income folks, and you know, you don't want to help anybody except
Yeah.
for rich folks. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. That definitely aligns with those values.
Yeah, it was just odd.
That is
I
weird.
just need people to stop trying to make jokes at campaign.
You're not a comedian.
It's
Tom,
it's
not
working.
funny.
It's
Move
not
on.
working.
But So like that happened, and then last night I find out my good friend Alyssa Slotkin,
Your good friend.
is not ruling out a presidential bid.
Oh, snap.
So
And it's on the Detroit news now, but you guys scooped
We
it.
broke it. Well, we broke it in Michigan.
we broke it in Michigan. So Senator Slotkin's been doing a little tour of some
It's a Midwest tour.
breadbasket
She's in
state.
Iowa.
She was in Iowa, and that's where she was talking to a reporter from the Des Moines Register who asked her about a possible presidential bid. And she was like, you know what? Not ruling it out, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
2028 is a long way away. Anything can happen, but she actually joked about how we've been talking about moving the order of like the caucuses and
Correct,
and the primary. She was like, I will cage match Iowa and Ohio to make sure Michigan is before them.
Oh, that's funny.
I love it. I'll say this though, and I think a lot of progressives are not as keen on Alyssa Slotkin as they are on a lot of other people, but
Yeah.
I do think that it is interesting and also really important that she seems to have the ear of the moderate voter, and there is a moderate voter, there is a middle ground, there is a bunch of people who are not as plugged in as us, y'all, who still would vote for an Alyssa Slotkin type person. So do I think that it is important that somebody like her is present in American politics? I do, actually. Do I think that it is a thing that she could go in wholeheartedly and win? Who knows? Who knows?
I have thoughts, but
Who
I'm going
knows?
to keep them all to myself. I do think that like if people are going to be running in 2028, what I would personally like to see is all women. I don't want to see a single fucking white dude up there. I want all women.
I mean, it would be
That
possible.
point, there's a short list of like 20 names going around, and Governor Whitmer's name is on it as well.
we all know.
So yesterday morning at a press event, a reporter asked the governor, should Alyssa Slotkin run for president? And her answer was, that's a question only the individual can answer, having been asked that myself many times. So she did not answer.
She didn't answer the affirmative or the
or
supportive.
or the negative.
Yeah, she didn't answer in a
I can't
supportive way
answer
either.
Yeah.
No, but I think when we look at Michigan, which is firmly proven itself to be a purple state in current times, Ohio is fuchsia, and you got Pennsylvania fuchsia. The purpley-ish block that used to be the blue wall is a thing that the Democrats are going to have to look to penetrate. And I think when they see a candidate like Alyssa Slotkin, they think that is a pathway. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying I understand the strategy behind it. We'll see how it pans out, Cotton. Now, speaking of statewide races,
Might as well be worldwide.
it might as well, because I keep getting asked about it every damn place I go in the country. The Michigan Senate race is still picking up. We talked a little bit about Abdul, who appeared at Michigan State in Michigan with Summerlee and Hasan. But we got to talk about this Mike Rogers thing, because I'm not sure that y'all read this.
Okay, you guys remember a few months back,
Yeah.
several months ago, we were reporting on the fact that there's these, or Politico reported, and we picked that up, that there are these like super racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic text message thread.
Yeah, there's like a young Republican group chat where they talk about their love of Hitler and rape. And
Young
misogyny.
is kind of a interesting misnomer. So these people are in the like late 30s.
So like
It was a combination. It was like
just to
college
clarify,
leadership
though,
and
like
then old
to like
people.
to be the youth chair, you have to be 35 or under.
The youth chair has to
so
be
it's-
35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is 35 considered
Yeah.
youth?
So anyway, no.
But it's the Republican Party.
So
It isn't like in politics, yes.
35.
35 is
Look,
pretty
we
young.
have like senators who are like in their 80s.
Yeah,
and, I
for
mean,
real. Yeah,
they're
that's why
weekend
it's
at burning a
hilarious
bunch
to
of
me.
people around right now. So
Propping them up
35
like
is,
puppets.
35 makes you a baby in the Capitol.
All right. So all these racist kids, quote unquote.
Yeah, they had this group chat, and then apparently Mike Rogers, who was running also for Senate on the Republican side, hired a few of them and said, you know what, you know who would work really great on my campaign? Racists. That would be fantastic. And listen, I got no time for this one, right? Like, I'm clearly on a podcast. I talk to people all the time about a various number of topics. If you want to know where I stand on a lot of stuff, it's not hard to find out. Mm-hmm. A quick Google search would have found you. Found out if these kids were actually in these chats or talking about these chats fairly easily. And so that tells me, there was no background done on anybody, or there was, and that was not a deal breaker.
They don't care.
No, they don't care. They absolutely do not care.
That's my point. So,
but the point of all of that too is that, the vice president of the United States was like going on a circuit defending all of them and calling them kids, which is why I think it's fucking hilarious, because these are people in their 30s and they're trying to defend
20s and 30s.
20s and 30s trying to defend them. They're not some like high school 17-year-old intern.
Yeah.
You know, so there you go. We've got Mike Rogers hiring the racist children from the Republican Youth Caucus.
It's ridiculous. So, again, I tell people, just pay attention to what folks are doing. Pay attention to the teams that they're building. Pay attention to the folks that are around them. I know it's very dense, deep stuff, but it's important. And it's important to realize what people value. Mm-hmm. Before we leave, because I know we had a lengthy show, and I want to talk about something fun. Word to University of Michigan for winning the national championship.
First time since 1989.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Go Blue.
They set Ann Arbor halfway on fire. There was
I saw the cleanup. There was like couches in the street. Like,
taking me back.
Shout out to the Ann Arbor sanitation crew, for real.
Yeah, and Ann Arbor Fire Department, word that there was no lasting damage. But listen, y'all turned it up. The basketball team did what they supposed to do, and now a national championship has been brought back to Michigan. And I got a tidbit of information for y'all. Check this out. Last time Michigan won a national championship, guess what team won their first ever championship in franchise history? The Detroit Pistons.
Oh,
So,
bad boys.
If history repeats itself, we're looking at an NBA championship for the Pistons as well. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Get your season tickets now.
Yeah, they gone. Can't get them.
It's over.
Can't get them. It's over with.
It's over.
But does anybody
Does this mean anything for the Lions or the Tigers?
No, negative.
Okay.
No, it's
They're
wrap
not
on them.
related. They're not related.
Not related. Not related. The cat teams are over here, and everybody else does this.
Gotcha.
But before we head out, does anybody else have any parting words of wisdom or fun things they'd like to share that they're doing to get through all this?
I've been sick for like 10 days.
Yeah, you've been gross.
It's been disgusting.
Yeah.
My children gave me their illness right before spring break. So I spent all of spring break sick.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm so miserable and cranky right now. God, if there's anything I'm doing, what am I doing to get through this? I've been reading a lot. I've been like shutting down at like 9 and getting in bed and like reading through so many books.
Good.
And that's been really, and taking gummies. So that's what I've been doing.
Word.
Gummies and reading.
Gina, what about you?
I mean, I'm watching really bad TV at night
We love
to
that.
get myself through, but also like I'm a little bit of like a space nerd. Like I like to follow like the rocket ships and all of that stuff. So like there's this show on HBO For All Mankind where there's a new season out, and it's kind of like it's like a different history of the space race where like the Russians get to the moon first. And like now we're like in the future building a colony on Mars and stuff. So I've been catching up on that with my son, but I was also watching the Artemis 2 call with Trump.
Oh my God.
So like if you guys don't know, Artemis 2 is actually they just They just broke the record for going the furthest into space than any other shuttle or manned ship has
It's truly
before.
inspiring stuff.
Yeah, I think they went over 250,000 kilometers out. So like Trump's team was like, "Hey, let's do a PR call." These astronauts had nothing to say to this man.
There was awkward silence.
First of all, one of them is originally from Michigan, so there's a Michigan connection on the ship. But yeah, you could tell there was a little bit of a time delay with the back and forth with the crew talking to him. But then there was just like nothing. Like they literally couldn't think of anything to say to this man.
Awkward silence.
But one thing I will say is that one of the astronauts, they asked a question about like Jesus or Easter or something like that. And, you know,
It's so fucking weird. These are scientists.
the scientists were, first of all, like, cool to let's talk about the Hebrew space zombie. Yeah. But they kind of had a really great response, actually, in all seriousness, which was, you know, we are in space, and when we are up here, all we see is the planet. We don't see these stupid lines that people arbitrarily drew. We don't see the devastation and the vileness of humanity. We just see the planet. And more people should actually see this place this way with none of the foolishness. They should just see humanity in its wholeness. And like that's part of why I really like space. Because people go to space and come back and say they had like a
They're changed.
a pseudo religious experience. Well, they are changed. You get taller in space because there's no gravity.
They're physically changed.
You're a little
different.
taller.
But it's the little blue dot.
Yes,
That, Carl Sagan
dot.
talks about the pale blue dot is we are a speck on a speck on a speck in this universe, right? So a lot of this stuff really doesn't really matter.
No, it
also
doesn't.
Nutella had the best free ad ever with the Nutella like flying across the screen. That that's what they wanted to report on last night on my boyfriend's ABC News World News Tonight is the Nutella, and
We love it.
I love
'Cause
it. I
Nutella's
love to
delicious.
see it. I love to see it. I watched the takeoff last week. My mom was texting me about it. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta watch that. They're coming back this weekend, so hopefully they have safe travels home.
They're going to land in the water off the coast of California.
Yep. So we're gonna be watching that very closely, and all I've been doing is rotting my brain with video games because that's all I got left. But anyway, that's going to be today's show. Thank you all for listening to Point of Disorder. You can find the show again on all of our social medias, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You can also find all of our content on Distill Social and at The Guerrilla Politics. Does anybody else got some parting words?
See you next Thursday.
Yep. Good day.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Point of Disorder. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who listened today. And if you like us, give us a like, a subscribe, or a review on any place you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Distill Social and at The Guerrilla Politic. This is the Point of Disorder podcast, signing off. Stay sharp, stay progressive, and above all, stay tuned.